Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. We are going to be critiquing this drawing I have in the background, which I drew early this year, late last year. So in the actual redraw of this character, we get to see how much my process and how much my art style has changed. If you have any critiques of this drawing, this one specifically, and my new redraw, feel free to add those to the comments. I want to hear others' opinions, but I want to hear critiquing, not hating. Okay, let's get straight into my critique of this. Sorry, I'm re-recording this, and I am now re-recording the audio, or doing an audio sync, basically, because, my audio sucks whenever I use Loom, which is what I'm using to record this. If you have any better options, please tell me. So, as soon as the actual video starts, so we are going to start the critiquing now. We are going to start with the back leg. See, this is where the hip is, that red line, that's the hip. So why is the leg so far forward? It needs to be further backwards. And yeah. So this is how I would probably draw it now. This is just kind of an example, basically, to make it a little more obvious with the problem, I guess. So I moved this a little further back. I love doing these little lines to kind of define the leg a little more. I don't know, I just find it fun. So I move that part forward more, and I start drawing the lower part of the leg. I always take a few attempts to get it right, or at least decent. So, yeah. But that's how I would probably draw the back leg now. I also move it a little further in, like, angle, so it's still facing forward, because the character is still jumping, and they use their back legs to land like a bunny. The next critique is probably going to be that front leg. Yeah. So with the front leg, I'm just going to define it a little more here. Obviously, this is not the redraw. I don't redraw this exact pose and stuff. You'll see that in a little while. But I move this part a little forward and define it more. Besides for that, I don't really do much. I just define it a little more. Also, as you can see, there are no hands on these still. That is because I usually actually draw the hands last in doing the line art, because I hate it. I hate it a lot, and because it takes the most amount of attempts. See, I'm just defining the shoulder blade a little more, and probably where the shoulder blade would be on this character if they were accurate in anatomy. Now I'm moving to the head. So I like doing these little two bumps to make where the mouth meets. And then I like doing these squigglies for the mouth, but for a character this soft, I don't think it really fits. So I do a little double swoop. And then I define the head a little more from being a round blob. And I redraw the eyes, which I love drawing these big eyes at the moment. I'm trying to work into doing a much cuter and more anatomy correct, I guess you could say, anatomy, getting the anatomy a little more correct. I'm just defining this line a little more here, and I would probably change the horns to sit a little further back, because you gotta remember that the horns are actually attached to the skull, more than likely. If they are horns, they're probably attached to the skull. If they're more like antlers, they still attach to the skull, but not as, there's more like flexibility, I think you would probably call it, in there for antlers. I do like the way I did the tail. I love doing little swoops like that even now, even like half a year later. I still like doing that, but the drastic change in style and what I know how to do and the process and everything is big. Now I'm pointing out the fact that they don't have feet. I don't draw feet of the character because I disliked it, and I never liked when I did, and I didn't know how. I was working in Flip-A-Clip. I worked with Flip-A-Clip at the time. That was the only thing I drew on and everything. Now I'm looking at the frill. So the way I drew the frill, it makes it kind of look detached almost. I do the same thing with the new version. But the way it looks is the angle kind of makes it look like it's leaning to the side which we can't see, which I do find interesting. I also turned off the other layer so you can see what's going on a little more clearly. But there's not much else besides for one more thing, which is how I started on traditional and moved to digital, which means in the early stages I would do these ticks, strokes, whatever, and it made this jagged almost line for my line art. I still do that once in a while here and there now, but I clean up my line art a lot more now than I did then. So I do really like how I did some of the things here and there, but when I look back at this old art, it feels so far away, and the fact that time has passed so quickly. Again, I'm pointing out that there are no hands or feet on the character, which is fine, I guess. They are also a sea mudwing because I used to be very much into Wings of Fire. I'm still am into Wings of Fire. There's also the little egg on the side, which we don't really have to mind at the moment. It's perfectly fine. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not perfect. But yeah. Straight into the redesign. Yeah, so straight into the redesign. So I'm starting with the way I start my sketches now, which is a very simple blocky shape, and then I do a rough sketch, which is a more defined design, and it just kind of gets more of the anatomy down along with the details and features. If I think a sketch is good enough, I usually just do the line art straight on top. Don't mind the eyes. I drew those because I got bored. I wasn't really bored, I just didn't know what else to add, and I was struggling with the feet. And when I go straight into line art, I actually did this bright hot pink pinkish purple, because it's more easy to kind of see, I guess you could say. It's easier to see what's layered on top of what for me. So yeah, and then I switch it to black, and I start with my colors. I directly color pick from the original art to design this, and then I did these cute little bumps with the original line art color for the design. Not the original line art color, but the original color for the spots. I kind of make the spots look like it's mud, but it's not mud. Besides for that, I also add the pattern to the spine and everything. Then I move to the background. I know this part is going really quick, but it's a speed paint, so I guess it makes sense. Then I go straight into lighting. I copy all my layers, fuse them together, and then erase to make the coloring. As you can see, it kind of makes my character look like Phantom without all the other stuff on below it. I mess around with colors here in a second, because I thought, why not? Why not? I also do more lighting, and then I add this extra bandages and stuff, like little leaves, and then finish off the lighting. And that's it. The finished result. This is Speckle. Comparing it to the original design, I've improved a lot, and if you have any critiques for the original design and or the new design, put those in the comments. I always love to hear it. Don't be shy. If you see something that is off, that doesn't fit the anatomy, and even if you want to make your own video to critique this one, go ahead. I love critiquing. I love critiquing other people's art, and I love critiquing my own. So if you have any critiques of your own, go ahead. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the art. And if you do decide to critique it, at me. I love to hear it. And critiques, not hate. Bye-bye!